Hi, so this is my revised essay, and I feel like the essay that I made beforehand was a bit more unorganized and not the most legible and had the best grammar. So I made some simple changes to the intro by just rewording my question at the end and hopefully a more coherent sentence. So I added here where it's highlighted in green, where it says, I believe that reading is an invaluable skill when it comes to education, but I wonder how reading helps with interpersonal skills. So what I meant by this was that I fully understand that reading is a very, very important skill when it comes to the real life, the real world, when it comes to education, and I know it's basically a necessary skill, but I wanted to know if it helps like interpersonally, where it helps develop empathy or if it helps you in friendships. And so here in my old essay, I didn't add that, and so I felt that the intro felt a little flat, and so that's why I added that to my new essay. And so something that I was proud of that I kept in my revised and my old essay was that I did add a lot of my personal experiences where I said I related to a queer character, and so that was the first time that I had admitted that, like in an educational setting. And so I'm glad that I stuck with that, and I'm glad that you still continue to go ahead and comment on my essay, like nothing happened. So that's nice. And so something, although something that you did comment on was that you wanted more personal examples because you felt that my voice was being drowned out by the sources. And I do agree with that because I felt that in my old essay, it really was just like a lot of quotes, and then one example, but not a lot of me. And so I made sure to add some more, like here where it's highlighted green. So here it says, when my second grade teacher read us a kid's book called Junie B. Jones, I was very fascinated by it. And so this shares my experience of another time where I got really into reading. So here, my teacher, she really was passionate. She voice acted it, she acted out scenes, she made us get into character. It was very fun, and she like spent multiple days just going through it, and it was very fun. And plus, she we were all first graders, and she was reading us a book about a first grader, and so I could really relate to the main character because she was just a little girl that I really did relate to her. She was just funny. I found the book very interesting, very entertaining, and so like since our teacher like went really through the book and kept asking us questions of how we felt while reading it, we were going a little slow. So I decided to go to the library and check out that book, and like that really kickstarted me into reading. Where I was like, oh, I could just go into a library and pick the books from the book series and keep reading it, and so that's what really helped and what really kickstarted it. So, something else that was a bit difficult for me to write about in my essay, besides the kind of personal stories of my parents and me relating to a queer character, was just nerves where I was including my third source in interview. And so, something that I really did appreciate you doing was you taking us there as like a little field trip and like a little test run of what the writing center is like. So that was very nice. So that got me more comfortable. And so I ended up interviewing Maria, a writing advisor at the UTRGV Writing Center. And she was very nice. I asked her a few introductory questions like, how do you feel about reading? What do you read? And she was very nice, and I could relate to her because she said she liked to read mystery and romance novels. And so that was fun. We sort of bonded over that. But the reason why I wanted to talk to a writing advisor was because I wanted to know the opinion of someone that was like their career and hobby was so steeped into reading and literature. And I know that you talked about how you like didn't like reading, but your career is so vested into reading. So I wanted to know someone else's opinion because, well, I knew your opinion. So that was a little funny. But yeah, and I am glad I talked to her because it was very nice and very eye-opening to see another person's perspective. So then I asked her, "How do you typically empathize with people?" Because my whole point of my question was, how does reading impact empathy and help develop like your experiences? And so she said, oh, I just felt that I had always just empathize with people and I could imagine myself in their shoes. And so I can understand how she could feel that way. And so then I asked her, what tips do you have for someone that wants to feel connected to what they read? And then she said, you have to explore your options first and read what you want to read and read something that answers your interests. And that does align with me too, where I never really liked being forced to read in a non-fiction setting in a teacher's when a teacher forces us to read. And so that also aligns something that I stuck with my old essay. And it says here where Bert, he didn't like to read because it was just stories about kids and kids his own age, and how he felt that that would be boring and how that wouldn't be very interesting, and he just didn't care, and it made him feel stupid. And so that I can relate to, and I do feel bad for Bert because he feels that he doesn't like himself, and so I feel like he does need some help with that. But I did feel that I could still include this source into my new essay, and it still makes sense, and it still be fine. And so yeah, some revisions I made in the intro, like I said, were just comprehension things where I felt like I wasn't really speaking my voice, and like how you said, where it felt like this was being drowned out, and also in my outro. Where here I added the outro where you can see here it says, although I'd already delved into reading, revisiting my journey of literature reminded me of just how much reading shaped me as a person. And in the old essay, it was kind of a little worse because I had used the word reading 3 times here. Reading, reading, reading. And so that kind of really muddled down my point where I wanted to really emphasize that I really liked reading, I feel like it shaped me, but then it just kind of sounded redundant to just put reading 3 times. So I changed this reading into literature in my new essay. And then I also just reworded the very last sentence to make it more positive and add more adjectives like amazing instead of just saying reading felt like good support. And so that's something else that I edited. And so I feel that with these like revisions, I feel like there's more of me in this essay, and I really do want to keep writing in the style where I can just write me, and like I can just go ahead and I can work on future essays where I know what to do and I know how to use a source and how to quote that source, and then keep using that, how I organize it in a sort of narrative essay. And I also learned, because I didn't know how to do this before, how to make a table in a Microsoft Word document. So that was also something that I learned. And this essay was very nice to write, and these revisions, I feel like they really did help to bring more like life into the essay. And so yeah,